Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel, and today you're watching the another episode from interview series with successful student. Today I have one of my best friends, Majed from Vancouver, Canada, and we're gonna have really great conversation today. So before I start the interview, I want my friend Majed to introduce himself to our viewers, then I can dig into more questions. Welcome,
Hi.
Majed.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for your time. I'm so happy to be here and actually excited. As you mentioned, my name is Majed. I'm fourth year PhD candidate here in University of British Columbia. And again, so happy to be here.
Okay, thank you, Majed. And I know you are PhD student at UBC, and you were for a short time, around 6 months, at Harvard University. So my first question to start is about your stats. What was your stats when you applied for a university in Canada and the United States to get admission for your PhD? Can you tell us about your, I don't know, your TOEFL score, or IELTS, or any papers, publications you had, about your GPA, undergrad GPA, your master GPA, and which schools you were for your undergrad and your master?
Sure. Actually, I was in Iran, my country, for master and bachelor. And here in Canada, it's not exactly like US. For GPA, it's not like based on 4, at least for UBC. It's based on 20, like what we have in Iran. So for me, for my GPA, master was 17.26 per 20. For bachelor, it was 15.98 per 20. And in terms of language certificate, I had IELTS, not TOEFL. And actually, I had like the minimum requirement for UBC engineering, School of Engineering, which is 6.5 and like 6 for each skills. So I got 6.5. Also, in terms of research, I think the like best part of my CV was my papers, because as I mentioned, my GPA and my like IELTS score was average. My GPA was good, but my IELTS was like average minimum requirement. But the best part of my CV was papers, which I had 6 papers when I applied to UBC. 3 as a first other and 3 like collaborative papers. All of them Q1 journals.
Oh my gosh, that's impressive. So could you tell us how many citations and H-index do you have right now?
Yeah, right now, my field is polymer engineering. It's more material science. So probably we have like these citations. Having this citation, I think it's a little bit easier in comparison with, for example, maybe electrical engineering or something like that. But for me now, I have, just let me check. I can see that my citation is 500. It's 527. H&X is 13.
Oh my gosh, that's really high, honestly, for being a PhD and having 500 something. I know you applied for visiting scholar at Harvard. How this happened and how was the process for that?
Actually, it's exactly like how you want to get admission for PhD in Canada. I mean, you need to communicate with one professor. You need to find a host professor for yourself. Then in Canada, there is like some scholarship that can support you financially for this program. And then you need to write a proposal. So first step is to find one supervisor. You need to communicate with supervisors in your field, find one, secure your position. Then you need to apply for that scholarship. For having that scholarship, you need to write a clear proposal. What is the purpose of this visit? What you're gonna do? What do you want to do? And you cannot do it in Canada in your university, and what you bring back to Canada, something like that. So there's like some clear questions. You need to answer those questions, write a proposal. So I did this actually process. I emailed some professors because my main goal was that to find a better university in comparison with what I actually have now, right now, UBC. So I targeted actually 3 universities, Harvard, MIT, and Stanford. And I just emailed like professors in my field for these like 3 universities. And in my opinion, I got actually the best one, Harvard with Professor David Weiss.
David Weiss. Okay, so tell us about the funding. I know living in Boston, living in Harvard University is not cheap, right? You
Yeah,
need to have a lot of support, financial support. How
exactly.
did you cover that? Harvard paid for it or UBC paid for it? How was that
Yeah,
process?
yeah, actually, it's so expensive, especially like renting a house or grocery or something like that in Boston. The good thing about my admission was that I didn't pay to university, so I had no like tuition fee or something like that. Actually, Harvard didn't pay to me. I just had a like specific source of funding from my supervisor, main supervisor here in UBC, plus one scholarship that I got from my Text Global Link. That was a program for Canada.
Okay, interesting. So you got all your funding from Canada and then moved to
Yes.
Harvard. And when you email to the professors, you say that you already secured
Yes.
funding and you
Yeah,
don't need
yeah,
any financial support from them, which
exactly.
I think that's a good part. And you
Yeah,
can,
that helped me a lot.
yeah, that's really, I think makes your case really strong. Okay, how many universities did you apply for your PhD in America or in Canada that you got
Y-
admitted to?
Due to some like problem in terms of visa for Iranian to go to US, I prefer to actually come to Canada. So this is why here in Canada, it's like all supervisor based. You need to find a supervisor. It's not like US, which is like committee based admissions. So we have to find a supervisor before applying to that university. So this is why we have to actually send lots of emails to find a good supervisor, good physician. For Canada, I found three supervisors that I had interview, and then they gave me like admission. But formally, I just applied to UBC, just this one, just one university. But I had three admissions from three like offer letters from just supervisors. One from Waterloo University, one from Alberta University, and the last one is like UBC, University of British Columbia.
Yeah, I think that's the smart move. You didn't pay for any application fee stuff, and
Exactly.
you just did it, I think the optimized way of apply, and you just applied to the university that you were sure that you're gonna get it, and which is
Exactly.
really a smart move. I really liked it. My next question is about your experience in Harvard and UBC. When you started your sabbatical or your time for research at Harvard, how was that different from the experience you had in UBC?
Huge difference. Huge difference. So just imagine when I moved to Canada from Iran, that for sure that was actually some differences, but it wasn't like Canada in comparison with US. From the time that I moved to US, I saw that actually difference, especially in Harvard. Like the quality of research, the time that researchers are present in the lab, the time that you can communicate with your supervisor. Again, the quality, the way that they are thinking, their attitude, they're completely different from UBC. I don't say like UBC is bad or something like that, but I just say it's completely different.
Okay, let me ask a more detailed question about your research group at Harvard. How many students was in the group that you joined to Harvard?
I was in Professor Waite's group, and he had around 84 persons in the group, like 20, 25 postdocs, and like 30 to 35 PhD students, 10 like masters, and then 10 to 15 visiting undergrads or something like that. So generally, there was like 84 people in the group when I was there.
And I think the PI you targeted was one of the leaders in the field, I think.
Exactly. Yeah. If you search about David Bates, his citation is around 200,000, something like that. It's actually a huge one. And he's very kind, supportive, and actually very good. This is why he had lots of students.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm excited to know more about the work-life balance of the students in Harvard. How was that in comparison to UBC? How many hours do students usually spend on the lab in Harvard, and how about UBC? Can you just compare these two for us?
Yeah, actually, it depends on students. Maybe it's different from like student to other students, but generally what I want to say here is just based on my experience. Maybe it's wrong or it's not true for like some other research groups. Here, just let's start with UBC. If you work like 6 days a week, like 8 hours per day, you're gonna stay at the highest level in UBC. But in Harvard, actually, I saw a very, very different way. So just to give you a hint, I saw some students working 24/7, 24 hours, 7 days. So sometimes just imagine because the nature of my experiments, I had to go to, for example, the lab to check my samples like during night or early morning. Whenever I went to the lab, I saw them. I had no idea when, for example, or when and where they have a rest or something like that.
Yeah,
So I can't say how many hours they were in the lab, but whenever I was there, I saw them.
I also know some interesting information about the meeting times that the students had with the PI that you had in Harvard. Tell us more about that. How often students can meet the PI, and how many hours and which part of the day it can happen?
Let me tell you about my personal experience, okay? That
Okay.
maybe makes sense for everyone. The second day that I was in Harvard, we had a group meeting with like the group meeting was mandatory for everyone, so everyone should attend the group meeting. We had a group meeting with our supervisor, our PI, and it took 3 hours from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. At the end of the group meeting, I met my PI and I asked him to have a in-person meeting to talk about the project. That was my second day in Harvard. And he told me, okay, you can come back at 11:30 p.m.
At
And I
night.
was like that. Yeah, yeah, night. I was like that. I said, I didn't say that, but I was like, are you kidding me? And I said, okay, I'll be there. I have nothing to do, so I'll be there. Just imagine when I was there, when I went to his office, it was 11:30 p.m. and I saw a long
Oh
line of
my.
students in front of his office. They were waiting for a meeting with him. I was like, Dad, are you kidding me? No life here? But I had to because I was there for a short time and actually I had a very like clear goal. And for having that, I had to actually stay there. So when I met him for the first time, it was 2:30 a.m.
Oh my
2:30.
gosh.
Yeah. And honestly, I had nothing to say, but I had to. So our meeting took like 1 hour, 1.5. And then at 4 a.m., I took a Uber to go home. And then, I actually wake up early morning. Doesn't matter when I sleep. I just wake up like 7 or 8 a.m. It was 8 a.m. I woke up and I said, okay, let's go to office. Let's go to the lab. I want to be the first person in the lab, and I want to impress my PI. Believe me, when I arrived, I was the last one.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I was the
That's
last one.
that's insane.
Yeah, I never forget this one.
So you were in
But
the lab until 4:30, and you back home and woke up at 8 and be in the lab at
exactly.
8:30, and everybody
And
was there.
yes, I was the last one, honestly. Yeah.
That's really, I don't know, people love science, right? Some people, especially the
Yes.
students who
They
studying
they
at Harvard.
enjoyed that. They enjoyed that. And they told me this is Harvard. You should be like that.
Let me ask another question. How do you think people like yourself keeping themselves motivated to study, to do research with that much of pressure? Leaving lab at 4, backing at 8, how it works?
Actually, I think the common things among all students over there in Harvard was a clear vision, a clear idea, what they want to be, you know. For example, they have a clear purpose, special for me, like personally, I want to stay in academia, I want to be a faculty member, I want to have my research group. So this is my goal. For having these goals, I need to actually tolerate some like difficulties. I need to like improve some part of my CV. So I need to actually do that. This is why I try to stay motivated. I try to actually, yeah, just think about the future, your vision, your idea, and I think it will help you to stay motivated.
Yeah, that makes sense. One more question about the stuff you mentioned is, I believe sometimes it's not just only working hard. How smart you're working is also important. Is there any technique, any way that you just keeping yourself more efficient in the work, to just making a lot of good data, kind of efficient work, beside spending a lot of time?
For me personally, I try always to like have a balance between work and life, you know, my personal life. So for me, I actually do exercise a lot, especially playing soccer, football, soccer. It's okay for me if I work in the lab like 12 hours, 14 hours a day, but I should play soccer like 3 times a week, 2 times a week, at least for 2 hours, for like 3 hours, at least 2 hours. Then physically and mentally, it helps me to stay motivated. This is just a personal life. But in terms of like technical one, you're right. You don't have to always work hard. You need to work smart. So for this, like working smart, you need to pay attention to some factors. For example, sometimes you need to read a lot. This is actually, especially for my field, for like material scientists, for chemical engineering, polymer engineering, it's not always like working in the lab. You need to like work smart. You need to know how to like do an experiment. So this is why, in my opinion, you need to read. You need to keep yourself up to date, by like using some references. Also, by like having some smart people around yourself, like your PI, maybe your postdoc, like research assistant in the group, or like other PhD students in the group. If you like surrounded by smart people, then you learn how to think smartly.
That's definitely true. And one thing about the doing research that you mentioned, can you tell us how many hours in average you spent for doing research at UBC for your whole PhD, and also for Harvard that you did for sabbatical?
Yeah, for PhD, actually in UBC, I try to work like 6 days a week maximum. Sometimes it happens maybe 7 days a week, sometimes 5 days a week. It's different, but just if I give you an average, it's like 7 days a week from maybe 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. maximum. You know, it's not like too much here in UBC, but for Harvard, it was different because, as I mentioned, I was there for a short time. So I had to do one like project proposal. So I had to work a lot. For Harvard, sometimes actually I was in the lab for like maybe 2 days back to back without any rest. That was like for a short time, not always. But if I give you an average over there, it was like 6 days a week and like maybe 10 hours, 12 hours per day. It wasn't just like doing experiment. It was like a mix of reading literature, papers, writing, or and doing experiment, all of them together.
Right. About papers, how many papers do you read on a daily or weekly basis, if you can tell us a number?
It's actually hard to say because it depends, you know. Sometimes maybe one paper, it depends like the quality of paper, the how you actually, what do you want from that paper? But generally, maybe for me, 2 papers per day, one or 2 papers per day.
2 papers per day.
Yeah, not like always, like
I
every
see.
day 2 papers a day, you know? It depends. For example, when I actually write my papers and I need like for some part of that, I need some references, I'll go to Google Scholar, I search some papers, and maybe for that special case, I read like 4 papers, like 5 papers or something like that. But generally, maybe 1 or 2 papers per day.
Yeah, because sometimes you're doing just experimental side, you need to focus on your
Exactly.
experiments.
And
Sometimes you're writing proposal, you're writing papers, you need to get into more references and read more papers.
And
Yeah, that makes
sometimes you
sense.
don't, yeah, sometimes you don't have to like read the whole paper. You need just like special part of that.
Yeah, that's true. What is your worst and your best experience about doing research in your PhD life?
Nice. Nice. Actually, you have lots of ups and downs during the PhD, you know, lots of failure in experiments. But if I say that, I was working for 2 years on one paper. And as I mentioned, I always try to have a clear vision, a main like purpose. So before actually, this is a personal things about me. Before starting experiment, I target one special journal, and then I say that okay, I want to publish in this journal. So let's do experiment, and I actually adapt myself with like that specific target. You know, like the writing style, the experiments, and everything. So I was working for 2 years on one special project for a special journal. I did everything right, and after 2 years, like hard working, I prepared my paper, but unfortunately it got rejected at that
Oh,
journal. So yeah, this is always my maybe a regret because this is like the highest journal that I can publish for my field, and still I couldn't. So maybe this is like the worst thing that I
so
experienced in
may I
academic
know?
life.
May I know what is the journal name?
Yeah, for me, it's advanced material.
Oh, you already published one
It's
paper in that
advanced
journal.
functional. It's advanced
Oh,
functional.
that was different.
It's
Okay,
like the one of the branch of advanced materials. Yeah,
I
but
see.
for advanced material, the impact factor is around 30, but advanced functional is 19.
19 is still high.
Yeah. Yeah, still have, but advanced material is something else.
Okay. So how about the best experience?
Academic or life?
I think
Or or life during my academic career.
yeah, you can tell
Nice.
whatever you feel is the best. I'm sure
Maybe
you
the,
have a lot,
I
but
have two actually. Let's tell you two things.
okay.
The best experience when I actually got my offer from Harvard, the day that I got offer, that was a very special day for me because one of my actually big dreams came true. For my personal life, you know, I'm a big fan of soccer and I play a lot.
Yeah.
So we have a very good team in our region here. The region that I'm living now in Canada is the name is Okanagan region. It's like 3 or 4 cities for this region, and they call it Okanagan region. There is one actually very good team, and like 4 years ago when I came here, I always followed them and I watched their game. They were playing in Pacific League. This is like a not professional league, but it's like kind of amateur to semi-pro leagues, which is good for my age and my level. So I always had a dream to play for that team and that league. And this year, like 2 months ago, it came true and I joined that team and now
Wow.
I'm playing for them. Yeah, Okanagan FC. So this is my actually second good things that happened during these like 4 years.
That's really nice. I love
Yeah.
soccer too, and playing soccer always is a kind of dream for me too, to play
It
for
helps
one.
me. Yeah, sorry for interrupting you. It helps me a lot actually when I came to Canada as an immigrant. So you feel alone sometimes. It's hard to communicate, to make friends, but actually soccer helped me a lot. This is why I always appreciate it. You know, I found lots of friends. I learned how to like teamwork, how to communicate with people, and this is why it has actually a huge impact on my life.
I'm gonna ask one more question about your Harvard journey. Did you have any kind of presentation, any kind of report that you should give for your sabbatical, the time you were there? And is there anything funny or interesting about it?
Yeah, yeah, actually, that was so hard. You can just imagine. We have to like after before ending our program, that was like a culture, a rule in the group. We had to present our work, what we did during that like 4 or 6 months. So yeah, I had a presentation for 84 Harvard students. That was one of the hardest actually presentation that I've ever had. And but fortunately that was good, not too bad. And since they like me, I'm actually a social person. When I go to some new places, it's easy for me to make friends. So they didn't ask lots of questions, fortunately. So that was good. But let me actually tell you a funny things about the one of the group meetings that we had. There was one student. She was actually visiting scholar like me. She presented, and oh my God, not good. Something bad happened. Our PI said that he was watching, he was looking at the presentation, and all of a sudden he interrupted her, and he said, "Are you kidding me? This is bullshit. This is not science." Just
Oh
we
my
were like
God.
that. We shocked. Oh my God, what happened now? Then he said, "This is what you are doing and that university. I don't want to name it."
Yeah.
So they said, "This is what you are doing. This is totally bullshit.
Oh
Shame
my.
on you, shame on you, shame on you." Repeated 3 times. Oh my God, that was actually because in Canada or maybe in the world, like they just try to be nice. They say, "Okay, you presented it, it's so nice, good job, well done, and you can improve this part, this part, this part." But I think personally, I believe that that was a good feature of our PI at Harvard. He was very straightforward. You know, in terms of science, he had no joke for like anyone. He said, "It's science. We need to be straightforward. We need to be harsh because it's science. It's not a joke. Here in Harvard, we are here to develop science. So we should do like that." Yeah, personally, I like it actually, and I want to be like that. So yeah, that was actually a funny, not funny, but the weird experience that I had during the time that I was in Harvard.
Yeah, sometimes Harvard looks scary to me. The
Yeah,
line, the line at 12 midnight for meeting PI, this kind of reactions to your presentation. This stuff scares me. Sometimes I feel,
but
oh, I have to stop going to Harvard for my postdoc maybe.
no, that wasn't always like that. This is just some memories that I have, but there was actually lots of good things, lots of like friendly, kind people. You can just imagine I was there just for 5 months, like 4 or 5 months, and I found lots of friends, and still we are in touch. And this is actually a good one. Just before going to Harvard, I was thinking that okay, I will go there and I meet some people that just care about science and no social life, for example, no friends or something like that. But it's not like that. You can simply find friends. You can do lots of social activities. For example, in our research group, we had a volleyball team, and
Wow.
we played a lot. We played like some kind of uh, Persian games, like Iranian games, and yeah, that was good. All things wasn't like harsh and weird. We had some actually nice activities, some good memories as well.
Can you tell us the good sides and bad sides of what you see in Harvard in
The
just
good side, you can meet lots of high quality people in terms of science. So you can see like the highest quality persons in terms of science in your field. You can learn how to think effectively, efficiently. This is like all the good sides. You can actually make connection. This is the best side. You can just imagine you can have like recommendation letter from that PI forever. which is very important for someone like me that I want to stay in academia. And the bad thing, one more good things. Lots of food. In
Oh,
Harvard, we always had free food. That was so good. But the bad thing was for me, it's a very, very competitive environment. Very competitive. So they work a lot. Maybe there is not actually a good life and work balance. But
yeah, that
it's
makes
maybe
sense.
it is actually a good feature for someone that likes science. But for me, no, actually.
Yeah, I think people love science, gonna do really interesting things. They love to spend more time. Even in some other schools, like what I have right now, UT Southwestern, we see few students staying 24/7, as you said, in the lab. They're just doing a lot of interesting research and
Yeah.
work. And I think for science lovers, definitely that's a good side too. But yeah, as you said, work-life balance sometimes is getting out of control and it's really hard. Okay, Majid, I'm gonna shift the topic, and I'm gonna give you some words and want to tell how do you feel about them. The
Yeah.
first word is UBC,
Beautiful campus.
beautiful campus. Okay,
Yeah.
Harvard University.
Dream came true.
Wow. Canada,
Oh, welcoming, nice and kind people.
USA.
Oh my God.
Don't say bad words.
No, no, for sure not. But everyone in rush.
Oh, everyone in Russia. You're a social person, right? You're
Hmm.
active. What kind of hobbies do you have when you have
Uh,
free time?
I really like to get together with other people, especially our lab members. So we have lots of gathering. Aside from that, as I mentioned, I'm a huge fan of soccer and I play a lot.
What's your screen time on a daily basis?
Oh,
How many
I
hours your
don't
phone
know.
is on?
I didn't check honestly, but it's not too much because I'm not active in Facebook a lot, Twitter. I have, I do have Instagram, so I don't know exactly to be honest, but I'm pretty sure it's less than 1 hour.
Per day.
Yeah, per day.
That's
Is that
quite
too
low.
much?
No, that's super low.
Oh, okay, good, good.
Yeah,
I
based
don't
on
know,
my
maybe it's like more than that, but I feel it's more like less than 1 hour because when I am at school at the lab, uh, I don't use my phone. School, then just imagine I'll go to university from like 8 to 9 a.m. until like 6 p.m. So maybe maximum 1 hour or less than 1 hour during that time. Then I'll go to play soccer, so for sure no phone. Then I'll be at home, dinner, and yeah, I'm pretty sure it's less than 1 hour.
right. So
Yeah,
do you prefer music or podcast?
music.
Music. So
Yeah.
is there any favorite singer you're listening a lot?
Yeah, actually, usually I listen to some kind of classic Kurdish music because I'm Kurdish.
Yeah,
Aside from that, I really like Spanish music, so like Latin music. I listen to Spanish music a lot.
yeah, both are
I really
great.
like the all Spanish culture, so this is why I want to actually learn Spanish. I really like it. When I was
I
uh, when I was in the US, I went to Miami, Florida. So everyone thought that I'm Latin Spanish, and it was actually a little bit weird to me. And everyone in the first sign they talked to me Spanish, not English.
Oh,
Yeah,
interesting.
in Florida,
Yeah, I think you have that look. And if I didn't know you, I may say, yeah, you're from maybe Mexico or
Mexico.
Spain
Yeah,
or yeah. Yeah. So do you eat any snacks while studying?
yeah, for sure.
What kind of snack? What is your favorite?
Chocolate, maybe like the special type of chocolate, Max,
Uh-huh.
and
Okay.
for sure tea.
Tea. I think
Yeah.
Iranian people love tea,
Yeah,
especially
not coffee. Yeah, tea.
especially Kurdish people and Turkish people.
Yeah, exactly.
I love tea too.
So
Yeah.
I have different types of tea, and I use tea a lot.
Great. And how many hours do you sleep per day?
At least 7 hours, 7 to 8 hours.
That's really
I have
nice.
actually, yeah, I'm good at this one.
That's really nice. Industry or academic life? I think you already answered
For
this.
sure, academy, yeah.
Academy.
I was in industry when I was in Iran for 3 years, and I never go back to industry.
USA or Canada?
Oh my God. Hard question. If you care about life, for sure, Canada. If you care about your career, progress, future, for sure, US. Since I care more about my life, I prefer Canada.
So you're gonna stay in Canada, or you don't have plan to come to US again
I don't have plan actually to come to US. I want to stay in Canada.
for postdoc? You're gonna do postdoc or
Yeah, yeah. I got actually a position here at UBC, so I will defend my PhD soon by like end of September. Then at the 1st of October, I start postdoc.
nice? So definitely you're gonna stay in Canada then.
Yeah, yeah.
Because you were in Harvard, I thought maybe you're gonna back for your postdoc to Harvard. That was
I have this option, but actually, personally, I prefer stay in Canada.
okay.
Yeah.
That's really, I think that's really nice that you know what you're looking for and what you
Yeah.
want. What is the biggest stereotype about UBC and also about Harvard?
UBC, maybe lots of social activities, especially for like caring about environment, and about Harvard, competition.
Competition.
Yeah. You can just imagine if you want to apply for a grant or like scholarship at university, you can compete with like the highest level persons in your field. It's very hard. It's very tough to get it.
Is there anything that I've missed I didn't ask and you like to tell?
Now, actually, I just want to say thank you so much for this time. And I just have one suggestion, which is actually for everyone. Have a clear vision, clear idea, and target one or two like aims, a purpose for yourself, and try hard to achieve that purposes. And then you can stay motivated all times.
Yeah, that's great. And my last question, what is your, that I usually ask from every student that I'm interviewing with, what is your definition for happiness? And do you feel happy in your life?
Uh, for sure, I feel happy, and to be honest, the biggest part of that is because of my wife and soccer. You know, I feel happy for sure, and I think happiness is do whatever you want. You know, don't afraid. Like, don't stay in your like
Comfort zone
yeah,
or
exactly comfort zone. Yes, step out and yeah, do whatever you want. Then you feel happiness for sure.
that was really nice definition. Thank you, Majed, once again, and
Thank you so much.
I really appreciate your time today you spent with us. I know you have a lot of work to do. You're doing your PhD. You're planning to defend soon. So I wish the best for you in your academic life, in your future. Great future that waiting for you, and I really love to hear one day that you got really good position in one of the prestigious universities in the world. So, and
Thank you.
thank you again for your time today. And thank you everyone for watching us until this time. And I hope this video helped you a little bit to make your dreams or your future plans come true in your life. And subscribe and like the video and stay tuned for the future videos that are coming out. Thank you so much again and have a great rest of the day.